apart from all the difficulty of buying a home at the moment, there's also a severe problem with trust. According to a report from the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the vast majority of prospective buyers don't trust estate agents, and they trust the vendors even less. Ciarán Mulqueen runs the Crazy House Prices social media pages. Afternoon, Ciarán.
Good afternoon.
I think most people would agree that, especially if you're buying a house, you have absolutely no idea what's going on, really. You're just taking the word of one person that everything is legitimate.
Well, I would hope that people do have a clue what's going on. They're entering into the biggest purchase of their life, but I guess that's where I come in for a lot of people.
Yeah. And what kind of things do you hear from people?
Mostly negative. I'm getting about 50 to 100 messages a day. And the vast majority of them are negative experiences as to usually the process of buying, not so much from the seller's point of view, but mostly from buyer's point of view. Obviously, everybody knows the dire situation we're in when it comes to housing. So that's mainly, it's just an absolute frustration with the lack of transparency and as you said, really low levels of trust.
Yeah. Okay. The lack of transparency. What should be more transparent to people?
The bidding process is the big one for most people. Is you don't know who you're bidding against if you're bidding against someone. Some estate agents will use online systems. Some will do old school. You can phone in and give a bid over the phone. So there's nothing really there to make sure that you are actually bidding against somebody.
Yeah. How would you know if you were bidding against somebody? Because I suppose if you or I was bidding, if I was bidding on a house, do I want to know that you're also bidding on the house? And does that help me? And I suppose there's also I drive around your house and set fire to your car or something to kind of discourage you to do it. So there'd be a worry there.
Yeah, you get like a bidding number on the kind of online systems, so you can see bidder 457 has bid. You know, that I guess that adds a little bit extra, but not all agents are using it. And most agents will vet the bidders and make sure that they have mortgage approval and all of that, but not all of them, and that is leading to a massive amount of headaches for a lot of people. Yeah,
in the sense that you've been outbid and then suddenly you haven't been outbid.
Yeah, so. Well, the bidding wars are a massive thing at the moment. A huge problem is estate agents are purposely advertising homes for a lot less than what they know they're worth, because that will, generate a bidding war. Now, that's technically against their code of conduct from the PSRA guidelines. But as with most things when it comes to housing in Ireland, very little of it is actually regulated or enforced regulation, should I say. So if you want to sell a sandwich, there's far more regulations if you're selling a sandwich here than there is selling a house, because they can lie, they can say the house is 50 square meters bigger than it actually is. Nothing can be done about this. It's buyer beware. Whereas if you advertise a sandwich as a vegetarian sandwich and you've got meat in it, you're in trouble. So when you're talking about the biggest purchase of someone's life, I just think there needs to be far more enforced regulations on it.
Yeah. No, that's interesting about because, usually they go around and measure places, I would have thought.
Different agents have different ways of measuring. They might add in, I've seen some add in the balcony on apartments. I've seen them add in attic space. What I would say to people is check the BER cert. If you can get the BER cert number, you can go on to SEAI and put the cert number in. And that is usually then a bit of a more accurate measurement of the actual living floor space. And, because there's always that little disclaimer, these are just for guidelines. So you're not going into a viewing with 50 other people and getting your measuring tape out to make sure that they haven't overestimated it by 10, 15, 20 square meters. And when you're looking at a lot of places in Dublin, you're looking at 7, 8, 9, 10,000 euro a square meter. That adds up to a lot of extra money that you only find out then after the fact. Yeah. And then there's nothing you can do about it. It's buyer beware. It's crazy.
Yeah. But though, I mean, if there was an estate agent here, I'm sure they'd swear blind that they do they do measure things accurately. They do have a code of conduct. And it's perhaps an inference that something might be funny going on because you don't know much about what's going on.
It's an emotive process, people do, it's because it's so stressful. I think people overestimate maybe things like fake bids and things like that. They overestimate maybe that there is something dodgy going on, but But there is a lot of dodgy stuff going on, because I am hearing it all day, every day. And I can appreciate there's probably estate agents.
But the thing is, like, everybody, you know, we listen to the news every day, and you know people are desperate to get houses. Therefore, there are bidding wars going on.
No,
an estate agent doesn't need to make them up, I would have thought.
I know. There definitely are. But what I would say is, like, whenever I hear estate agents talking on the radio or on the TV or whatever, and they're generally, if they're willing to put themselves out there on radio or on television, they're probably the ones that are doing everything correctly and are doing everything honestly. But I'm getting so they only know what's going on inside their business, and that's grand. But what I'm getting in is every corner, every town across the country. So I'm getting an insight into what's going on everywhere, and it's chaotic out there at the moment. It really is. It's really, really bad. The fact that they're able to purposely advertise below what they know it's worth to generate a bidding war is, I think, needs to be stopped, because it is against the code. So it's not making up new rules. It should just be enforcing the actual rules that are there. There's a good few estate agents that are well known for it, and I just think there just needs to be far more regulation on it.
Well, you see, when they say they know what it's worth, is that just based on experience? There's no like kind of metric you can look at to say how much a house or an apartment is worth.
That's their job, really, isn't it? Being able to, the professional valuers, they need to be able to value a home to within, I think it's whatever, 5-10% either way. That's what they're supposed to be able to predict that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Now, so perhaps more transparency about the bidding process, but you think that transparency would be something like everybody adheres to some sort of online system so you can see what other people are doing?
Yeah, or making sure that people aren't bidding on multiple... Like in other countries, what they do is all the bidding is done through a notary who is state employed. So the estate agent's hands are off the bidding process. So that then removes the risk of maybe ghost bids or fake bids. And I know they don't happen as much as people think they do, but they do happen. So if it was done maybe with an external person and it's done and they're state employed and they don't get any benefit when the price goes over a certain amount or anything like that, I just think that would be a better system. Yeah.
Okay. And then even when your bid is accepted, why does conveyancing take such a long time?
I was actually on an expert panel last year that the government put together to try and come up with solutions to this, and e-conveyancing was something that we came up with. There's also, it's not huge money for a solicitor to do conveyancing, but it could be 9 months worth of work. So it's not really at the top of the pile. It's not at the most urgent thing for them to do if conveyancing is just maybe a part of their practice. But we did have a report on it that was put to government, and there was a lot of really, really good suggestions put in there as to how to improve things, speed things up. But there's also, the main issue was that it's so easy to test the waters. Say you want to sell your house, you can just stick it up online, and test the waters and see what happens. So I think there was a seller's pack that the IPAV put together, I think 4 years ago. Now, it wasn't perfect, but the whole idea was that you basically try and get the house legally ready to be sold before you advertise it, and that then would reduce conveyancing times, probate, all of that kind of stuff. The stuff that's making things take 6 to 12 months to go from sale agreed to keys in hand.
Yeah.
It would reduce all that because you're getting all the legal stuff ready before you put it up for sale. So it's not a case of you built an extension in the 70s with no planning and you forgot about it, and now all of a sudden you're trying to sell the house and there's all these legal issues. There's boundary issues, there's title deed issues, there's a whole host of things that if there was like a legal requirement to have everything sorted before you're allowed to advertise it, that would just clean up a lot of things.
Yeah. Though, but where's the line with the buyer beware in that, the buyer perhaps should ask, is there planning permission for that extension? Or is it, actually, is it when you're selling it privately through an estate agent, do you have to tell someone that you've had an extension built?
No, but that's the problem. And that's where the conveyancing comes in and they have to go off and try and figure all this stuff out after the fact. And then when you're delayed then 6-12 months, then that's not having a knock-on effect in the chain. So if all of these things were just ready to be sold before they're advertised, that would just fix everything.
Yeah,
I think.
And is there an argument for kind of a separate profession of conveyancing?
That was another kind of recommendation. I think so. Yeah, like I don't think you need to do 8 years of law practice to do it. Like it's as I said, it's not huge money for solicitors in the grand scheme of things. It's not a massive amount of money.
Yeah.
So it's and then I think the e-conveyancing system would clear a lot of that up as well.
Yeah. Are there alternatives to using estate agents? Is it particularly complicated if you just want to sell your house privately?
I don't think it is anymore. Not with technology. Like we bought our house privately, directly from the seller, and if people are listening to this, they're probably going, geez, he's going on about this again, but it's something I'm always asked about. But I know a lot of people that are in like kind of the community on my page have done the same. So what we did is we just posted letters around. We got one reply and we bought the house from them, and it was perfect.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really great. It was actually really nice. It was a lovely experience. There was no bidding wars, there was no stress. The previous owners actually called in to me a few months ago unannounced. I was getting stuff ready for the kids, and they called in because we did the house up, and they came in and had a look, and it was really nice listening to their stories growing up in the house. And it was compared to the stuff I'm hearing all day every day, it was the polar opposite.
Yeah. Let me read you out a few comments. Interesting discussion about the process of house buying. A friend of mine was recently telling me about the process of buying a house in Norway. It couldn't be more difficult from Ireland, as all the bids must go through a bank, which of course removes the possibility of phantom bids. Also, there is a single independent quantity surveyor's report which is attached to the house, meaning you know potential problems before you go on sale. Sale agreed, and you don't have multiple surveys in a house. Really sounds like a practical, common sense idea that reduces the need for external specialists, which our system seems designed to encourage.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. There are solutions out there. It's just it's a real thing with this country that we just hate changing anything or having to put the effort in. And I also think the political will maybe isn't there. There's probably not a whole lot of votes in this for anyone going for election.
I imagine there would be, actually.
Well, I think there would be. But I don't think it's at the top of their list. I also think it's a process unless you're in the process of it and you haven't bought a house in 20, 30, 40 years, you probably don't realise quite how bad it is. And there's probably people listening to this going, this fella's on moan about house prices. It's always been difficult to buy a house, blah, blah, blah. It's statistically and factually far more difficult now than it has ever been. And that's due to research from Housing Europe. They've done the figures on all of this. It's the income has not gone up as much as house prices have, and in terms of multiples, it's something like 8 times more expensive now than say 1985 in terms of the income to house price ratio. So they're probably listening, Scott, it's always difficult, but it's far more difficult now. And unless you're in the process of it, you probably have no idea.
Yeah. Actually, I just read out a couple more kind of demonstrating what you were saying. In South Dublin, 2 houses near me sold for 1.2 and 1.4 million. Another house went up for sale on the same road. It's gone up 850,000. Same condition as the other 2, totally undervalued to get people interested. On recent sales in the area from the Property Price Register, recently went sale agreed in a house 155,000 over the asking price. My word. Ciarán, thanks a million for coming in to us today. That was Ciarán Mulqueen there from Crazy House Prices social media pages.